One's armorial. Today, as you can see, very much changed the setting because I wanted to use the massive whiteboards to go over a process and a video that's been requested a lot lately. That is how I devise arms myself. That comes from a variety of factors, a variety of sources, and it really just, in the end, depends what the arms are for. So we're going to break down the basics of what goes into a coat of arms, and then from there, move further. So, without further ado, let us begin. So, this is my Mad Men's schematic that I came up with to kind of describe how it works as a flow. And the biggest thing I can say too is get reading first, do your research before you try to devise any arms. Now I think if you could only get one book to do it, and this is for mainly British tradition heraldry and its affiliates, as found in the Commonwealth in the US, would be Heather Child's Heraldic Design. It is literally set up as a handbook for students. It goes through this process. It's the same process I pretty much use. So this is the one. So if you need a book to look up, there it is. I will put a link to where you can purchase a copy of it in the description of this video as well. So here's how it works. The first thing you do is come up with your background. What's going into the arms? What inspiration, what color, what symbols do you want in it? Now the number one thing I will tell you is most bad heraldry comes from an overloading of meaning of symbolism. The number one rule I can always suggest in all heraldic design is to come up with something you think looks nice first. Ascribe meaning after you have a design that's fleshed out, that's blazonable, that actually looks good. Because the biggest rule I can think of when it comes to heraldry is keep it simple while also keeping it distinct enough that it can't be accidentally copied. The whole point, the whole development story of arms comes from wearing it on a shield or wearing it on a surco so you can be picked out among a crowd in the heat of battle or at a distance on parade or whatever philosophy you want to use behind it. The point is it's very much like a flag today. It needs to be distinct, you need to be able to see what it is. It's supposed to work in different color. Nothing I'm using here today will involve color. Why? Because you need to make sure that your designs look good in black and white as well as color. If you can't tell what it is in black and white, likelihood is you can't tell what it is going to be in color. Now there are people probably going to hate in the comments about that comment, but it's true. There are ways of determining it. You can think in your head and you can label things throughout the design process. If you think about what it is, in the end though, you can help overall achieve the goal. Now, let's talk about background. Three big things. Inspiration. What other arms have you seen that inspire you to create your arms? What inspirations or what rationale into the arms for an organization or a university or something like that, where it's not personal, it's supposed to represent a wider community. So what inspirations go into that? Next, colors. What colors are preferred? Colors are pretty much out there. And the more proper heraldic term would be tincture. Metals, colors, furs, varied fields, that sort of thing. So, which things stand out to you? And some people are like, well, blue is for valor, and red is for glory or honor, or something like that. It's like I said, ignore that, come up with a reasoning later. And symbol. Notice I only have it singular, not plural. I think bad arms come from, like I said, an overloading of symbols and an overloading of meaning. Come up with one thing you like. Pick out, when I design arms for people, I send them 20, 30, 40 examples of different arms, kind of in the realm of what they're looking for. Here's an example of a bunch of British personal arms based off of everybody in this one clan, or this is a bunch of school, university style arms. Here's a bunch of arms for heraldic societies and organizations. And I say, pick out three. Ignore the colors, but look to the composition. What are the ordinaries? What are the divisions of field? What are some of the charges? And then go from there. So I say pick one big thing, one thing that sticks out to you, one item on a shield that you think, oh, I want that in. Be it an ordinary, subordinary, a division field, a charge, heck, it can be a fur or a tincture, but anything works. So you get those three together, and that's for each turn. And of course, the base rule of thumb is you're going to do it on a shield. But remember, just because it looks good on a regular heater shield doesn't mean it'll look good in a banner. Because remember, anything that's done in this more or less triangular shape is going to have to translate well over to a square and a rectangular design in terms of heraldic banners, the hoist and a standard, that sort of thing. So make sure that it can be done in multiple ways. So say you have arms that have 3 stars in the corners. Well, that looks great on a shield. That's, it naturally draws the eye and outlines the heater shape. But the minute you put it into a square, it's going to look awkward because it's not balanced. It's still balanced vertically. But overall, it's like, okay, well, you have 4 corners. Why didn't you fill all 4 corners with stars? It's like, well, on a shield, there's only 3 corners. So be careful with that. But your field. Do you want to leave your field plain? You can do that. If you leave your field plain, you can skip to the charges step. There are plenty of good designs that have a basic field and basic charges combined, and they make beautiful things. Or they're just a field and an ordinary or a subordinary. The former Chief Herald of Canada, who recently passed away, her arms were literally just a shield, a blank blue shield, done with an orle all the way around, just a plain line. It's simple, it's elegant, it works. Or the arms that were used by the kings of England for so many years. A red field with 3 lines passant on them. That's it, that's striking. Or the French kings. Blue field with 3 lilies on it. Again, simple, easy, to the point. You can get complicated too. There's nothing wrong with being complicated, but again, can you see it at a distance? Can it be marked out as a field or a flag on the field of battle or something like that? Keep that in mind. Not that it's ever gonna come to that or ever be used for it, but you want it to be unique. You want it to stand out. That's the point. Overloading it with crazy charges up to the wazoo, so it's like, if it's done the size of a stamp, you can't tell what it is. Well, it's not useful to anybody then. So you have your field. The next part is the divisions and ordinaries. Some people like to break it up between divisions, ordinaries, and subordinaries. Individually, I throw them all together. Why? Because they're all interchangeable. They can all be used, or they can only be used one at a time, or in twos, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So your divisions of the field are going to be things like her fess, her saltire, her chevron, where it is the whole shield is cut in half. Not by an element cutting it in half, just there is a line cutting the shield in half. Or it's cut into saltire, so there's two and two, 4 together. Same thing can be applied to gyrony, however you want to pronounce it, or it's multiple shapes of a pinwheel, basically. Her chevron, pretty simple. It's a chevron-shaped division of field. And those can be done in multiple ways. So in British heraldry, at the very least, we can do a thing where you divide a shield of 2 colors, and you can place charges of metals over them. So that way it doesn't break the rule of tincture, which is, of course, color metal, color metal. Now, that opens up an interesting point on chiefs. I will make a whole nother video about chiefs, because some people like the look of, say, a red field and a blue chief, or a green field and a red chief, or something like that. Using chief as an ordinary, as a division of field, kind of undermines what a chief actually is. So I will do a whole video on chiefs. But, so for example, you can have your field divided per fess, azure and gules, and then have a or fess over it. Or you can take it and you can go even further to the point of making that fess wavy. Or you could leave the field by itself and make it jagged via embattlement or rayonné or anything like that, any varied line to try and break it up. Or you can do full ordinaries in it. So this is a fess wavy. This is a chevron wavy. When it has no varied line, when it's a straight line, it's just referred to what it is. So this is just a saltire. This is just a chevron. This is just a fess. So pick out what you think looks good for that. Then you move to charges. So let's say, for variety's sake, we went with a shield that was divided per chevron. of 2 different colors, or it could be 2 colors and 2 metals. Actually, that's what we're going to go with now. So let's say this shield overall is this shield is, let's make it azure. All right, so hatching marks, something I mentioned earlier, just shows what color it is, and I'll label them for sake. So this is or, and these are azure. So this is per chevron, or and azure. It is gold and it is blue, but it is divided in cross. But then we have our charges. We want to lay charges on it. I've thrown up a few examples. Crosses, roses, single foil, or that's trifoil, not a single foil, sorry. Crosslet, saltarise, crown. It could be anything. Charges is where the real creativity in arms comes in, because that's where you have so much variety. And if you look into any of these books, they will give you lists of just crazy charges, crazy varied lines, all of the things that you need in a good coat. So, and there's basic ones and there's more complicated ones. You can use something where simple as a cross by itself, a couple of crosses and birds, like St. Edward the Confessor's arms. Or you can break things up and you could use human figures. I don't like human figures on shield, but that's the thing. So number one, avoid landscape heraldry. There was a whole set of that in the 1700s and we never need to go back to that again. But let's say we're gonna pick one charge. Now we could easily just take this and place a cross over the whole thing and countercharge it, meaning in the fields where it's laying on a metal, it becomes a color. On the fields where it's over a color, it becomes a metal. That changes up the colors. Or you could do something like this. You can place 4 crosses, 1 in each spot. So the 2 in the gold section can become blue, and vice versa. Those are countercharged. So those 2 would be blue on gold, these 2 will be gold on blue. So there you go. And if you wanted to break it up and finish it, you could say, well, I like that overall design, but I want to change something because I think that looks good, but maybe I want to change it. So let's put wavy lines on everything instead. So there's that. So that's the overall process. Now we're actually going to sit down and devise something. As far as that's coming down. Okay, plain shield. We have everything we need to start. And that's the other thing. You might be wondering, why haven't I mentioned crest? Why haven't I mentioned supporters or compartments or anything like that? The base of all heraldry is the shield, the coat of arms. Coat of arms can refer to the whole achievement or just the shield by itself. My God, this whiteboard is dirty. So you have your shield. Come up with your shield, do everything else after. It's the smart thing to do. It makes it so much easier. And if you have ideas, here you go, or you're messing around with your coat and you say, oh, I really want this lion to be my main charge on my shield. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I want to keep my shield to be not realistic. It doesn't have to be anything that's living, no animals, no people. Maybe I just want to have inanimate objects on my shield. I get it. I can use my lion as the crest, and I can make it rampant, I can make it a demi-lion, I can make it just a lion's head erased, whatever. It could just be the paw of the lion grasping something. All of which would be appropriate. So, yeah, our shield. Well, the biggest thing to do is figure out, is this going to be a personal arms for me? Or is this going to be arms for my local heraldic society that I just started up? Is this going to be the arms for my university that doesn't have a coat of arms? I laugh because there are 12 depictions of my university's arms within walking distance that I can see from in this room. It's actually decent. For academic heraldry, quick digression, academic heraldry usually ain't that great. My university did an okay job. They don't have anything besides the shield, but it's a good start for Americans. Anyway, so what are we going to do this for? Well, let's see here. What can I design arms for? Let's design arms for, okay, I'm from Michigan. So I'm going to design arms for a Michigan Heraldic Society. That doesn't exist. There isn't one. Trust me, I've checked. There might be one soon. Look out for more information from me about that. But, okay, we're going to design that. Now, anybody who has ever been to Michigan or knows anything about it knows we're the Mitten State. We got a shit ton of lakes around us. So, we want water on here somewhere. I could put waves on the shield. That's too original. I don't want that. I want something different. We have a lot of golden fields, a lot of corn, a lot of wheat. So, let's see here. Well, I want to do a gold shield. So I'm going to start writing my blazon out. Or, I want a gold field. I know that much. Water. What can I do to water? I can do waves. I can do a wavy line. Or I can do, let's see here. See, this is why it helps to have a book. You can come up with ideas. Let's do a fountain. A fountain is just a rondel that is alternating waves. So instead of doing waves across the whole shield, I'll just do a fountain. So that's easy. So I'm going to do a shield, and I'm going to do, we have 2 sections in our state. Pardon me while I attempt to draw a circle on a wall. We have 2 fountains. I'm just going to add a little blue so I know what it is. I know I said I wouldn't do color, but I'm going to lose track of which line's which if I don't add it. Okay. So you have some fountains on a gold field. All right. What else do I want to add? I don't really want to add, see, I don't want to divide it with an ordinary because, well, I like having simple shields. I'm not big on ordinaries. It's just my personal preference. To each their own. Okay, so I got 2 fountains. That works. Or I could do 3, or I could do 5. I could do any number. It doesn't really matter. Well, let's do that. We have a gold field, and let's see. I want something in the middle. Something's got to take up all that space. I can balance it out and put a shield in base, or I could do this, or I could balance it out and add another fountain down at the bottom. Or as my one friend calls them, water tribes. Because anybody who's in my generation would get that reference. So we have our 3 little fountains in corner. Now, I know I warned against it, and I said, hey, 3 things doesn't balance well on a flag. Well, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Some things are only ever going to make it into a shield. Some of them are never going to make it into a flag, so it doesn't matter. No. So we have those 3. Now what do I want to put in the middle? Stars. Too much stars in American heraldry. Too many eagles. I could draw a rampant elk or something like that. Do I want to? Not really. I'm not that good of an artist. I'll make it simple. Let's just make it a shield. Wow, a shield on top of another shield. How original. Guess what? You'd be surprised. It happens more in heraldry than you'd expect. And that marker doesn't want to work. There we go. But what color do I want to make that shield? Let's see here. I'll make it blue. I'll make it blue. Why not? Or I'll make it green. Let's make something green. So. All right. And I'm going to add some dots to it so I know that this main tincture is in fact or. Alright, so or. Main body of the shield. the other thing. When you're making arms, make sure you can blazon it. So, gold field, green shield between 3 fountains. So, how we would blazon that? Or, between 3 fountains, a shield verb. Easy. That's a quick shield, that's recognizable, you know what it is from a distance. It'll translate to any shape. So, for example, if we wanted it on a square banner of arms, it would work on a square banner. It would work on a square banner. Or, let's say we want it to be on a pen. Let's make a pen. Make it on a pen in the Scottish style because Scots heraldry isn't my thing. And that marker doesn't want to be here. I got another one. That's not the end of the world. Alright, so we want it to be on a pen? Okay then, cool. Put our 3 fountains in. We have our pen divided down the middle, and let's just say, I don't know. We haven't come up with a motto. This is your motto. So, there you have it. A simple coat of arms devised from the ground up using the basic flow. And then you can say symbolism. Okay, well, shield's a shield, heraldry, there you go. Green and gold, 2 common colors you see. We're a very lush green state. Green is different. A lot of heraldry societies use a red shield on things, so I'm gonna use green. And 3 fountains. Well, it's a water thing. We have a lot of lakes. We have the Great Lakes, that sort of thing, rivers. You could say you could say they're fountains of knowledge or fountains of learning, or fountain of knowledge, truth, and learning, or something like that. Come up with stuff that sounds good. And it's all on a gold field, because there's a lot of golden fields in the state. And it works in a square banner form. It works in a triangular pennant. So, this is how I design a coat of arms. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. As always, please like and subscribe. It really helps me know what I need to make, what kind of videos people want to see, that sort of thing. It helps me keep updated too. It makes it so I'm motivated to make more videos more often. Summer's here, I can make more videos. So here's this. I'm sorry, might have been a little long, but hey, you got to learn something new. And again, like I said, I'll post a link to this book down in the description. Thank you. Until I see you again next time.